Hey guys, what's going on? Today I'm checking out the ALLPOWERS R2500 portable power station, which I received for free to review. I'll be putting it through real tests to see if it truly lives up to the hype. So, is it really that good? Let's find out. Starting with the unboxing, this is the box it comes in. When we open it up, the first thing we get is a 15-gauge charging cable. Then we have the instruction manual, and finally the power station itself. My first impression is that this thing feels massive. It includes way more ports than other portable power stations of this type, even featuring a 30 amp RV port. The design is modern, which I really liked. It also features covers on all the ports, adding a nice touch of protection. However, that doesn't mean this power station is waterproof. In fact, it has air intake vents on both sides that are completely open, so if water gets inside, it could definitely cause issues. Now, let's talk about the specifications. When it comes to capacity, it features a 2016 watt-hours lithium phosphate battery and a pure sine wave inverter of 2500 watts, which is enough to run almost anything around the house. On top of that, it has a 4000 watt surge capacity, allowing it to handle appliances with high startup power demands. But, of course, I'll be testing all of these in the video to see how well they actually perform. When it comes to maneuverability, it has handles on both sides, which makes it easier to move around. However, this power station is on the heavier side, weighing around 60 pounds, so it's not the most portable option if you plan to use it for camping or frequently moving it around. The weight is mainly due to the larger inverter and all the features it packs, so you'll have to decide whether you prioritize power and functionality over portability. As for the size, this power station measures around 18 inches in length, 14 inches in width, and 14 inches in height. Taking a closer look at it, the power station has a screen that displays all the important information, including battery percentage, input and output in watts, and the estimated time left. When it comes to ports, they are divided into three different sections, which you have to turn on separately, but you can use all of them at the same time. The first section is the DC output, which you turn on with this button. It includes two USB-C ports, both supporting 100 watt fast charging, along with 4 USB-A ports, 2 with fast charging and 2 regular ones. The next section is the 12-volt output, where you have a cigarette lighter port and 2 DC outputs for powering compatible devices. And the last section is the AC output, where you have 4 regular outlets in total, plus a 30 amp RV port. This is a great feature if you have an RV, as it allows you to connect it directly and power multiple devices without needing extra adapters. And that's basically everything you'll find on the front. On the right side, you'll find cooling fans to help regulate the temperature, and at the bottom, there are 2 expansion ports, which allow you to connect compatible expansion batteries if you need to increase the power capacity for longer usage. On the back, there's nothing to note, but on the other side, you'll find more ventilation grills and all the input ports. Here, you have the AC charging port, a breaker in case something goes wrong, and the solar input, which supports 12 to 150 volts. This is a great feature because it doesn't have the usual 60 volts limit, allowing for more flexibility with different solar panel setups, and it can handle up to 1000 watts of solar input for fast charging. There's also an app you can install to manage the power station. Be aware that there are multiple versions with the same name on the App Store, but the correct one is linked via a QR code in the manual, which is this one. The connection process is really simple. To connect it via Bluetooth, you just press the DC button for 3 seconds and it will activate Bluetooth mode. From there, your phone should recognize the power station and connect. However, I have to mention that the app still needs some improvements. In my case, I had to redo the connection process a couple of times because it kept disconnecting. The app only includes basic features, like viewing all the data displayed on the power station screen, turning the ports on and off remotely, and switching between 3 different charging modes. While it's useful, I think it needs some improvements, like displaying the temperature and adding more control options. Hopefully, future updates will bring these enhancements. Well, it's time to put it to the test. For my first test, I wanted to check how accurate the 2500 watts inverter really is. I started by applying a load of around 2500 watts and let it run for a couple of minutes. It kept working without any issues, so I decided to push it further. I increased the load to 2600 watts and it still kept running. However, after about 1 minute, the power station shut off automatically, meaning the overload protection kicked in. I also tested other loads above the limit, and in each case, it handled the power briefly before shutting off after a few seconds. So overall, it passed the inverter test as advertised, handling the rated 2500 watts load and properly shutting down when exceeding its limit just as it should. All power stations come with a battery capacity, which is the total energy stored in the batteries. However, when using AC power, you never actually get to use the full capacity because some energy is lost due to conversion efficiency. So let's test how efficient this portable power station really is. For this, I'll be using this little device to measure exactly how much energy gets through. To make the test fair, I set a constant load of around 1000 watts. When I connected it, the power station estimated 1 hour and 46 minutes of runtime. To check the accuracy of this estimate, I also started a stopwatch to compare the actual runtime. So I started the test and everything was running completely fine until it reached 5% battery, at which point it shut off automatically. I assume that this remaining 5% is reserved to power the cooling fans or for internal battery protection. I even tried turning everything back on to use that last 5%, but it wouldn't allow it, which confirms this idea. In total, the power station ran for 1 hour and 45 minutes, which was very close to the estimated 1 hour and 46 minutes, making it impressively accurate. It consumed a total of 1828 watt-hours out of the 2016 watt-hours capacity, meaning the efficiency comes out to about 90.67%, which is a really solid performance for a portable power station. Another thing I heard about this power station is that when you put a big load, the voltage drops. I wanted to test that to see if it was true, but it actually maintained around 119 volts the entire time, even when I exceeded the 2500 watts inverter limit. So, at least in my testing, there were no significant voltage drops, which is a great sign for stability. And lastly, I wanted to show you the 3 charging modes available on this power station. The first mode is mute mode, which charges at a slower rate to minimize noise, taking over 3 hours. In this mode, the power station pulls around 600 watts while charging. The second mode is standard mode, which charges the power station in 2 hours. When activated, it pulls around 1000 watts and you can hear the fans working a bit harder, but it's still reasonable in terms of noise. The last mode is fast charging mode, which charges the battery in 1 hour and 30 minutes. This mode is recommended only if you really need to charge it quickly, as frequent use could shorten battery lifespan. In this mode, it pulls around 1500 watts, and you can definitely hear the fans working hard. It sounds similar to an old computer running at full speed. One thing I noticed is that while you can hear the fans running, you don't really feel much air flowing through. So I'm not completely sure how effective the cooling system actually is. To wrap things up, I think this power station delivers solid performance and versatility. It's got plenty of power, great port selection, and fast charging capabilities, making it a reliable option for both home backup and RV use. It is not the most portable unit out there, so if you need something lightweight, this might not be the best choice. The app functionality could also use some improvements. At the end of the day, if you're looking for a high-capacity power station that can handle heavy loads and recharge quickly, this one definitely gets the job done. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments, and I'll be happy to help.